What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. It's the 2018 offseason, week 13 draft recap. I've got the crew with me. I got David Stoyo in Canada.
What's going on?
And I got Josh Gonzalez in Niles.
Voila.
Alright, we're going to start off with draft recap. Stoyo, you still pretty shocked about the Browns taking Baker Mayfield 1? We didn't really expect that.
Yeah, I'm still shocked, and it's been a few weeks now, and I still can't get past it. I still think it's a mistake.
Who do you think they should have taken at 1?
Sam Darnold, easy decision.
Yeah. I would have been cool with Sam Darnold or Saquon Barkley, the running back, at 1. Josh, what did you think? Were you surprised the Browns took Baker Mayfield at 1?
Yeah, because I didn't know who he was.
Well, like the Browns have a history of messing up their pick. They can't get a quarterback right. Do you think this is another example of that?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I was looking at some possibilities who they might take, and then I took someone I didn't know. And
yeah,
like you said, they have a long history of that. Manziel and Tim Couch.
Yeah, in my opinion, this reminds me too much of the Johnny Manziel pick. And if you've got the number 1 overall pick, I wouldn't want to be out there reaching and taking a guy like this who could be a flop. We'll see. Stoyo at 2, the Giants take Saquon Barkley. They don't take a quarterback to replace Eli quite yet. Do you think that Saquon is a good pick at 2?
I do.
Yeah.
It was either him or take Sam Darnold, and they felt that Saquon is a more polished product, and Eli still has a few years left in him. So they went the running back route, which I'm fine with.
You think if they surround Eli, now he's supposedly going to have a solid running back, Giants could make a run here towards the end of Eli's career?
Yeah, they have weapons now.
Yeah.
They beefed up the offensive line, got some more wide receivers, and got new coaching. You could make something happen.
Definitely. Josh, Saquon Barkley, some people are saying that they expect Barkley to be better than Ezekiel Elliott, who's on the Cowboys. Have you seen much of Saquon Barkley, and do you expect him to be the next star running back?
I haven't seen much other than I saw the video package from the draft and stuff.
Yeah.
But usually with running backs, they have a lot less learning curve than a QB or something, and they're usually good right away and can contribute a lot.
Yeah, he could be a key part of the Giants going forward. Me personally, I was just shocked that Sam Darnold fell to 3. That really shocked me. I thought that he was the best quarterback available in the draft, the guy with the least amount that you'd have to worry about. Stoyo, do you think the Jets hit a home run here with Sam Darnold?
Absolutely. They had the best pick in the first round, in my opinion. Such a great value, having arguably the best QB in the draft at the 3rd pick overall.
Yeah.
They were trading, hoping they were going to get one of the other QBs, but to get the best QB at 3, that is the best thing that could ever happen to that franchise in a long time.
Yeah.
Do you think he can be as good as Geno Smith?
Yeah, that's the thing.
He needs to.
I'm thinking Geno Smith, Mark Sanchez, going back to Chad Pennington. When's the last time the Jets have had a difference maker at the quarterback position? And I think they finally got it. Jets CEO Chris Johnson, who played a major role in the draft, has very high praise for quarterback Sam Darnold. He says, quote, "I honestly think they're going to look back 20 years from now and say this is the moment the Jets shifted into a new team and became a great team." Josh, do you think that the Jets have finally found their quarterback for the future, their star quarterback?
Oh, maybe. That's a lot to say when he just got drafted.
It is.
Hopefully, he looks more promising than like I said, like Chad Pennington was okay, but not that great.
Do you think this is a lot of pressure to put on a rookie quarterback who just got drafted to New York City, right?
Yeah.
High pressure place. Yeah, and now he's got his
New York media, and you're already asking, is he going to be the Messiah for the Jets?
Lots of pressure. And in Tom Brady's division, it'll be tough. Do you think that's too much pressure on him, Stoyo?
This is typical New York media. You're going to build him up right away so you can just cut him down in 6 months when he has like a 2-interception day. You're going to call him the worst QB ever. So I'm not really buying it. You should give the kid a chance and not give him a Hall of Fame jacket before he even stepped onto the field.
Exactly. I wish him well. I wish him success, but he's got a uphill climb in that New York pressure, New York media. The Jets desperately needing their quarterback. And then at 4, Stoyo, me and you thought it was a done deal. The Browns were going to take Bradley Chubb at 4, team him up with Myles Garrett on the other side of the line. Instead, they go corner at Denzel Ward. You were shocked by this move, right?
Absolutely. I didn't think it was a done deal for Cleveland at all because I thought Cleveland was just doing things ridiculously. So I just wanted to see what was going to happen. And they shocked me. In no possible way did I believe that Ward was going to be a Cleveland Brown at 4. And to me, it's just 2 questionable picks with the top first and the 4th pick overall. It's just 2 gambles.
Yeah,
you need to at least get a superstar out of these 2. And you may have gotten the best cornerback, and you may have gotten the best QB. But I just don't like them. It's just 2 gambling of picks. You need to at least have a home run. I just don't see it. I would have gotten Chubb there 100% of the time.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I think that it's just 2 Cleveland-type picks. I mean, Josh, can you remember the last time a corner was taken in the top 5? I mean, this is a high draft pick for a corner, and I think it would have made more sense to go D-line there. Do you like taking a corner at the 4th pick if you're Cleveland?
No.
Yeah.
Like you said,
it's a bit of a stretch.
No one they've ever drafted a cornerback that high. Usually, and like Stoyo was saying, with one questionable pick at number 1,
they double it up, double down.
They would, yeah. And I don't know. Cleveland management and whoever's in charge of all that always confused me, even when I was a kid.
Well,
do you guys remember Justin Gilbert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cornerback that the Browns drafted, I believe, in maybe 2014, maybe at the 7th or 8th pick.
Out of Oklahoma State. I remember
Correct.
him. Yep.
That's just what that pick reminds me of.
Yeah. Cleveland just making Cleveland moves out here. And of course that drops.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
It was like more of Browns history, it seems like.
Yeah. it just
Almost
seems
like
like
they want to be, it's like they want to be the Patriots of being bad.
And then, so then naturally, Bradley Chubb drops to 5, and the Broncos pick him up. Denver adds Bradley Chubb to Von Miller. That D-line in Denver should be nasty. Josh, just what the Broncos need, more help on defense.
Yeah, and see, that's one right there. That would have been a better pick, I think, for the Browns.
Yeah, for sure.
But Denver has them now, and yeah, with that, the beastly defense gets another beast.
Yep, keeps getting better.
I like seeing his name on the jersey too.
Yep.
Fun to say.
And then
Chubb with the sack on Sanchez. Sounds funny.
Stoyo, yeah, Denver's defense just getting better. Would you have rather seen them take a quarterback here, or do you think this is a good pick at 5?
I think this is a good pick,
Uh-huh.
especially when you still somewhat have Paxton Lynch there as an outside chance. You bought yourself at least 2 seasons with Case Keenum.
Yep.
So having such a prospect like Bradley Chubb being there available at 5, I would definitely pick Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, smart move, and they have to be happy that he fell to 5. Then the Colts at 6 take Quentin Nelson, the guy we all wanted in Chicago. Me and Stoyo are both hoping that he would fall to 8. The Colts take him at 6. Smart pick, though, and you got to add protection for Andrew Luck, so you got to like this pick, Stoyo.
Yeah, great pick by the Colts. They traded down from 3 to 6, and after trading down, you still get someone like Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Great pick. Josh, Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame. Are you a Quentin Nelson fan? Notre Dame's like right in your backyard.
Not really.
Good pick,
no,
though.
he's good. I'm not a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it should be good to, look. Can always use some protection.
Yep. Then
a lot better with, even though it's one of those stupid things they say, like he's a lot better when he's able to throw the ball. Like this team wins all of their games when they score more points than the other team.
Well, speaking of throwing the ball, Andy will be happy when Andrew Luck's actually throwing a football. I don't think he's doing that quite yet in his rehab 2 years later. The Bills trade up in the draft. They go to 7 and draft Josh Allen for quarterback out of Wyoming. Josh, were you surprised by this? The Bills made the playoffs last year for the first time since 1999 with Tyrod Taylor. Then this offseason they get rid of Tyrod Taylor and they go and trade up in the draft to get Josh Allen. Were you surprised they gave up on Tyrod Taylor so quickly?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was really with the whole situation. Like, I didn't watch a lot of the Bills games, but usually when a team makes the playoffs, they're not saying, "Oh, we need to get rid of the quarterback," unless it's like the Ravens with Kyle Bowler.
Yeah. Kind of an interesting moves for Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they must have really thought Taylor was the problem. And, that's where they needed to upgrade to not only make the playoffs, but take that next step.
Yeah, that's true. They did lose right away in the playoffs to the Jaguars, and Taylor did have some difficult time scoring on that Jaguars defense. But, Stoyo, you don't necessarily think Josh Allen is the answer. He's a very strong-armed quarterback, but accuracy issues in college Do you think that the Bills will be all right in the future with Josh Allen, or do you think this is a potential bust?
I think that's a potential bust. I do like the aggressiveness of moving up and trying to get your future franchise QB, but with Josh Rosen available at 7, I would go with Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
And I think the Bills are like the Cleveland Browns. They also have a hard time making the right decision at QB, and to have that problem for years now.
Yep.
And I think they made the right choice. Again, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Josh Allen is not even gonna be as good as Tyrod Taylor, the guy they moved away from.
Yeah, that could be. And if he is, let's just add him to the list of J.P. Lossman and Trent Edwards and all these Bill quarterbacks that have not worked out. E.J. Manuel. So that's what the Bills are doing. At 8, the Bears get a solid linebacker. They pick Roquan Smith out of Georgia. I love this pick. Hard-hitting linebacker, going to bring back the nasty Bears defense. You got to like this pick, Stoyo.
Love the pick. Great pick. He has some question about his size, but I'm very excited about this pick. We've been needed some good linebackers for a few years now, and it's going to be a nice change of pace to have someone like Roquan Smith instead of Shane McClellan.
Yep. Josh, you can't be excited that the Bears are going linebacker here in the division, but it's also a division with guys like Kirk Cousins now and Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford, so you kind of have to go defense. What do you think of your division rival Bears taking Roquan Smith?
Yeah, that's actually, it's a good pick for them.
Yeah.
What they like to do, coming from Georgia, I'm pretty sure he'll be pretty good, and
yeah.
Hopefully he'll be good enough that the Bears cut him, and then he goes to another team and wins the Super Bowl.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. So at 10, the Cardinals trade up and draft Josh Rosen. Stoyo, I know you're a believer in Josh Rosen. You think this is a good pick for the Cardinals? And how quickly do you think Josh Rosen starts a game for the Cardinals this year?
Well, when you have Mike Glennon ahead of him on the depth chart and Sam Bradford pretty fucking quickly. I expect Josh Rosen to be starting Game 3 of the season.
Wow. Yeah, we'll see. It would be nice
I agree.
It would be ideal for Josh Rosen to sit back and maybe learn from Sam Bradford a little bit, but yeah, I agree. I get the feeling that he's going to be forced into action pretty quick. And
I think Sam Bradford could maybe go 7 quarters without getting injured. But I don't know. The whole game is a lot to ask.
It is a lot to ask. I'm not a huge fan of Josh Rosen, but I mean the Cardinals need a quarterback, and he fell to 10, so I'll take him up. Josh, your Packers were at 14, but they traded with the Saints and moved back. They moved back to 22, and then at 22 they traded up with Seattle to go to 18, and at 18 the Packers take a corner, Jair Alexander out of Louisville. How much have you seen out of Alexander, and do you think that's a good pick for your Packers?
Yeah, I actually like that. At first I was like, why are we trading down and stuff?
Yeah.
And just seeing it unfold and what the new GM was doing, it was cool because him being a defensive back and smart teams, you can get a defensive back. Not easy. You don't have to draft him in the top 5. You can get a good one at number 18.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh?
And especially because we lost Morgan Burnett, and like we needed a cornerback already, and then we need a cornerback and a safety, so the defensive back was a big hole we needed to fill.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about the Packers a little bit more here coming up, but I mean, I think that's a solid pick there, addressing the secondary again in a quarterback-heavy division. Josh, did you see Lamar Jackson in college? Did you watch him play at Louisville? He was compared to the next Michael Vick.
No, I haven't seen much of Louisville.
Well,
I just checked out Alexander because Green Bay drafted him.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I wanted to know more.
Lamar, I mean, he was one of the top quarterbacks coming out, but he falls. He was expected to fall a little bit in the draft, but some weren't sure where, maybe in the late teens, early 20s. But he falls all the way to 32, and the Ravens trade up to get him. According to sources, Joe Flacco has yet to talk to Lamar Jackson. So he might be kind of upset that the Ravens drafted a quarterback there. Josh, do you think this is a sign that the Ravens are looking to replace Flacco?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
At least, are getting somebody ready.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, I think you sent me a YouTube video on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And you said they were calling him the next Michael Vick. That reminded me.
Yep.
Yeah, I did see that.
Stoyo, do you think that Flacco has reason to have beef over this pick, or do you think that he's overreacting?
I think he's overreacting.
Yeah.
Since his Super Bowl run, Flacco hasn't done much as the starting QB for the Ravens. So, and he's been paid quite nicely for it. So every team is allowed to draft any pick. So he shouldn't be. It's a business. Players know that.
You're telling me the Ravens shouldn't have gotten his permission first?
No. No player is bigger than the franchise.
All right, so let's look at.
I mean, he's not the only one who's pissed. Roethlisberger's angry as well.
Yeah, there's a few. Let's go to teams. Let's look at what teams did. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills. We'll run down who they got. They got Josh Allen at 7, quarterback. They got linebacker Tremaine Edmonds at 16. Defensive tackle Harrison Phillips at 96. And then 2 wide receivers, Ray McLeod and Austin Proehl. Austin Proehl is the son of 17-year NFL vet Ricky Proehl, who was on those Panthers and teams like that back in the day. Stoyo, what do you make of the Bills draft here? They got some decent guys.
Yeah, but it all depends if Allen is going to turn out for them to see if this draft class has been successful. So they have added some pieces, and if those turn out, sure, but the main focus will be on the QB position.
Yeah, I agree. They're if not Josh Allen, their only backup plan is AJ McCarron at quarterback. So a lot of pressure on those 2 guys. I do like the wide receiver Ray McLeod out of Clemson. I think that's a good pick, under the radar guy. So we'll see how that does. Josh, so are you a AJ McCarron fan? Do you think the Bills should go with him or the young guy? Remember AJ McCarron back in those Alabama teams?
Yeah, I know. I know who AJ McCarron is. Oh, I would probably go with the young guy.
Yeah, I would too.
AJ McCarron's all right, but yeah, I don't think he's the answer.
Speaking of quarterback problems, Stoyo, the Dolphins, they did not draft a quarterback, and they're putting their trust in Ryan Tannehill and in Brock Osweiler. What do you think of the Dolphins? They had Cutler last year. Now it's the Tannehill and Osweiler show. What do you think of Miami going forward?
I mean, that's not the worst thing. Ryan Tannehill has some potential. He's not the worst QB out there.
Yeah.
And especially where they were drafting, pretty much all the top QBs were gone, and it was either Lamar Jackson or someone out of the first round.
Yeah.
So pretty much they said we're going to ride Tannehill maybe another few years, and we'll draft a QB when we end up being in the top 5 or something like that.
Yeah, and we'll see. It looks like Adam Gase, his success is going to ride completely on Tannehill. If it doesn't work out for Tannehill or Osweiler, that might be the end of Gase in Miami. They addressed defense. They drafted safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. They got a linebacker, a couple tight ends, Mike Gesicki out of Penn State, after losing Julius Thomas in free agency. Josh, the Patriots lost both starting tackles from last season in free agency. They addressed it with Isaiah Wynn. Do you think that's a problem for New England, losing offensive line around Brady, who's getting up there in age?
It should be, but it probably won't.
You feel like
Belichick is sacrificing goats.
Yeah.
Asking the devil for 2 more tackles.
Yep. They did get 1 tackle in the draft, Isaiah Wynn, so that should be good. We already talked about the Jets getting Sam Darnold, so their future hinges around him. Let's go to the AFC North. The Ravens got Lamar Jackson. Flacco's not happy. Some pieces around there. The Bengals pretty much go defense. Stoyo, what do you make of the Bengals looking like they're going to be around Andy Dalton again? Do you think Dalton is on the way out in Cincinnati?
At some point.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able to win a playoff game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think I wouldn't be comfortable with him as my starting QB.
Josh, do you think that the Bengals need a quarterback that can win in the playoffs? Or do you think they'll be all right without one?
Well, yeah.
They should probably address that.
If you would like to win in the playoffs, you should probably have a quarterback that can win in the playoffs.
Well, Josh, you should talk to some of our Detroit friends. They might want to look into that too.
Yeah.
So the Browns, let's look at the Browns. We all talk about the 1 and 4. They got a guard at 33, Austin Corbett. They got a running back, Nick Chubb. Defensive end, Chad Thomas, and wide receiver, Antonio Callaway. Callaway, out of Florida, fell in the draft due to marijuana-related issues, tested positive at the NFL Combine. And he's said to be being mentored by wide receiver Josh Gordon. Stoyo, what do you make? Do you think Antonio Callaway is a decent risk-reward draft pick?
Yeah, for sure. I think that marijuana issues can be overcome.
Yeah.
With you can do that in college and still have a successful career in the pros. You just need to be more careful. And yeah, that's not a huge gamble, I would say. It's not like it's domestic violence or anything like that. So
yeah, decent risk reward.
Yeah.
Looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Josh, tell me what you think of this. the last 2 seasons, Roethlisberger has been non-committal to the future. He's been kind of like, I'll play it year by year, and even last year he was talking about retirement. So the last 2 years ago, the Steelers drafted a quarterback, Josh Dobbs. He didn't really work out. This year they drafted another quarterback in the 2nd round, Mason Rudolph. And now Roethlisberger is saying that he wants to play for another 3 to 5 years. Do you blame the Steelers here for drafting quarterbacks? And do you think Roethlisberger is just saying that because he's trying to keep his job for the future? Or do you?
No, stuff like that's happened before.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's smart by them to want to try to get someone groomed and ready for when he retires or, whatnot. And, like, if he can be good for 3 to 5 more years, I'm sure they'll probably keep him at least a few. I don't know about 5.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Stoyo, do you think that Roethlisberger has 3 to 5?
I don't want to move on.
Yeah. Do you think he has 3 to 5 more years?
I don't think so. I mean, this is just brand new news. He is acting like he's been sure about this for a while now. No, this is just brand new. He just decided he wants to continue to play football.
Yeah.
He wasn't convinced earlier, and now he's offended that his team has drafted another QB. And it's not even like it was on the first day that they drafted him. So, yeah, if you were a little bit more open with your team, maybe they wouldn't have done that. And I do think that Mason Rudolph is a great prospect.
Yeah.
And he could actually have some future in the NFL. So that's the best thing for the Steelers and for Mason Rudolph. So
yeah,
maybe it's not the best thing for Ben, but
I mean,
people get replaced.
How can it be best for Ben? In my situation, I agree 100% with what the Steelers are doing. How can you be like okay with Roethlisberger threatening retirement year after year? You have to give yourself a backup plan. You have to have a quarterback of the future in waiting. So Roethlisberger can be frustrated all he wants, but he's got to prove it. You can't go out there talking about mid-season last year and Roethlisberger saying maybe I don't have it anymore. That's not a good look.
Exactly, yeah.
The Jaguars improved their team. They get a safety, Ronnie Harrison. They get another wide receiver, LSU's DJ Chark, who I'm a big fan of. Stoyo, did you like the moves Jacksonville did? They could be even better this coming year.
Yeah, for sure. They added some more talent to that defense.
Yeah.
And that's always great to do, even though you already have a good one. So you're kind of like doubling down and trying to make one of the best units into the best unit.
Exactly. Trying to make him the best. And, I mean, the question's still going to be Blake Bortles, but he's got a star running back in Leonard Fournette and some good weapons. So they should be able to overcome his inconsistencies. Josh, the Titans draft a linebacker out of Alabama with a 22nd pick, and both highly rated, and a defensive end out of Boston College, Harold Landry, at 41. The Titans seem to be going all defense after hiring former linebacker Mike Vrabel in the offseason. Do you think the Titans getting better on defense is best for them? And like the Titans made the playoffs last year, Josh, and now they're going to be getting better on defense. How good do you think the Titans can be?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm always a big fan of defense wins championships, and you have to take a playoff team and step up the D. It definitely can't be bad.
Yeah. Some good moves for Tennessee. We go to the AFC West. Stoyo, the Broncos adding decent options, a couple wide receivers, a linebacker, defensive end, another running back. How much better do you think the Broncos can contend in that division?
Yeah. I think they added some key pieces like Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
And I do like
Cortland Sutton.
Deshaun Hamilton that he added.
Yeah.
And I like those picks. And overall, they had a solid draft, and I think they improved over the draft for sure.
Something about Elway always seems to have success in these drafts. Josh, are you a believer in Elway's system? You like what John Elway's doing over there in Denver?
No?
John
Elway sucks.
You're just bitter about the 90s. Denver's got to be happy with Elway. A couple Super Bowls as quarterback, a couple Super Bowls as, or at least one Super Bowl as GM.
Yeah, I think just the one. I wouldn't give him the second one yet.
I was thinking about that loss to Seattle.
Yeah, those don't count.
Yeah.
Gotta win.
Gotta win it. The Chiefs improve their defense. I like their picks. The Chargers do the same. Josh, are you surprised the Chargers haven't drafted a backup quarterback for Phillip Rivers yet? He's getting kind of old.
Yeah, a little bit. It seems to be the thing to do, especially, how old is Phillip Rivers?
I don't know exactly.
I remember using him on,
he's been around.
Madden games.
Like Madden 05 or something. I want to say he's like 30, 38, 37.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to look that up. Josh, the Raiders seem to be getting better. They hired John Gruden to be their next head coach, and in his first draft, they traded for wide receiver Martavis Bryant, only had to give up a third-round pick. So the Raiders have brought in Jordy Nelson and Martavis Bryant as wide receivers. Do you like what John Gruden is doing for the Raiders?
Oh, yeah, and I wouldn't question anything that John Gruden does. I think he's really good at what he does. It was one of the things that I really liked when he was on Monday Night Football. It was crazy to me how he would say oh, I look for them to run this play, and they would run the exact play he was talking about, like right after he said it. And,
yeah.
Like real good at looking at film, and it was like if he can figure all this out just by watching these two teams play together.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
and when he was coaching,
he was a hell of a coach. Yeah.
Robbed out of going to the Super Bowl with the Raiders before, and
the
1-1 in Tampa.
Speaking of that, you made a good point. You made a good point, Josh. I too am gonna miss John Gruden in the booth on Monday night. They've replaced him with former Cowboys tight end Jason Witten. Do you expect Jason Witten to do a good job as Gruden?
I don't know. My first instinct is to say no, but I haven't heard. I don't know. I heard like Jason Witten do like post-game interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know, something about like John Gruden and Bill Parcells was another one. Sometimes they would be like talking about like analyzing the game, and it would like make me want to go play some football.
Oh, I know. I agree with you completely. There's just something about it. All right, Stoyo, I'm gonna give you that question too. Do you think that Jason Witten is a good fit for Monday Night Football?
He may be a good fit, but he's probably not going to be as good as Gruden.
Yeah.
Gruden was a coach, and he could give you the view from a head coach point of view. Justin Witten is a great tight end, one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to give the football through the views of a tight end and of a Super Bowl winning coach. But he's still a good replacement, I would say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The entire new Monday Night Football crew is the new play-by-play guy is going to be Joe Tessitore. He's famous for calling college games. Jason Witten will be in the booth with him, and then a field analyst, former defensive tackle Booger McFarland. He used to be on the Tampa Bay Bucks with Warren Sapp and those guys. So that'll be the new Monday Night crew.
Oh yeah, I know about McFarland.
Yeah. Stoyo, the Cowboys during the draft, they lost Des Bryant earlier, but they acquired Tavon Austin from the Rams for a draft pick. Do you think that's a good addition to the Cowboys?
Not really.
Yeah.
I don't think that Tavon Austin is anything to brag home about.
Yeah.
He's a secondary wide receiver. I wouldn't even consider him a top target. It's just a role player at this point.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I thought the Cowboys were going to draft a wide receiver in the first round, and they didn't. They went with some linebacker.
I do like Michael Gallup with the 81st pick. They did get him at wide receiver. I think that he's underrated out of Colorado State. I think he could have success. Giants, we know, got Saquon Barkley, got offensive line, linebacker. The Eagles traded out of the first round. Redskins got some guys. Defensive tackle, running back Darius Geis. Stoyo, let's break down the Bears here a little more thoroughly. We got Roquan Smith, center James Daniels, wide receiver Anthony Miller, linebacker, I'm going to try and say this name, Joel Ayagbanunwe, something like that. Bilal Nichols, defensive end, and Javon Wims, wide receiver. What do you make of the Bears draft this year?
I like it. I would probably give it somewhere of a B grade. I do like this center that we drafted.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's some knee issues there, and this is why he dropped into the second round.
Okay.
For me, it's a huge gamble, and if it pays off, sure, but you want your offensive linemen to have, like, good feet and good knees, and you do not want to have an offensive lineman that's already hurt with, like, chronic pain issues that will get you in trouble down the road. So I don't know what to say about that. Also, Anthony Miller has a shot to be a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
But he also has, like, a lot of drop issues. And also, we traded a second-round pick to move up in the second round for him.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to give up again to get another wide receiver. Which, to me, I don't know how Pace does this. He always preaches how we're going to build through the draft, but he keeps trading up, which is costing you round picks and extra value. So,
you know what it is, the old sleight of hand trick. Tell you one thing and then go and do another. That's what he's doing out there.
I guess.
I don't know. I mean, I like the Anthony Miller pick. We'll see on James Daniels. Hopefully he made some good picks here. I gave him a A- or B+, but we'll see. The Lions take a center. I like the Lions got Kerryon Johnson, running back, with the 43rd pick. That might be a good pick. Kerryon Johnson, as he has potential in this league. We'll see. Lions running backs have a difficult time behind their line usually. They got defensive tackle Deshaun Hand, which could be decent. So maybe the Lions will figure out their running game this year. Josh, the Packers, what do you make of their moves? They take corner at their first 2 picks. They take Jair Alexander. Then they take Josh Jackson. Then they get a linebacker, wide receiver, a guard, a punter, and then wide receiver out of Notre Dame, Equinemius St. Brown. Josh, what did you think of the Packers draft? Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
We addressed where we needed stuff and like created a competition with the young guys. So, yeah, we brought in some defensive backs and a few wide receivers and Moore and
St. Brown is good.
St. Brown, they're both big guys, big targets, and McCarthy has expressed that he's really happy about that, and
that's good.
Bigger targets usually result in high completion percentage.
Well, hopefully our guy Kyle Fuller gets out there.
QB rating and.
No, but that's if you have a good QB.
Yeah, you guys need.
Well, that's covered.
I thought you guys were going to draft a quarterback. You need to address that.
I mean, they did trade for Kaiser, so.
You got Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah, well, we needed to address the backup situation.
I heard.
We're like however many shitload of losses and 1 without Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what Green Bay does going forward. Hopefully, not too much. All right. Let's see. The Vikings address corner, tackle, defensive end, tight end, and kicker. They do a decent draft. They get Mike Hughes at corner. Stoyo, the Falcons add Calvin Ridley to Julio Jones, 2 Bama wide receivers. Matt Ryan's got to be happy about that. Also, Russell Gage at wide receiver. How do you feel about the Falcons? They seem to be getting better through the draft.
Yeah, I mean, adding Calvin Ridley, who some people said at some point was the number 1 wide receiver in the draft, is always a good move.
Yeah.
Late in the first round. He could definitely turn into a really good number 2 option next to Julio Jones and maybe Sanu. So Ryan has to be liking this. The Falcons are only 2 years removed from the Super Bowl run, so
yeah,
they definitely want to keep that window open and rebuild a little bit more, which I think they did throughout the draft. And they should be competing this year. That's a Super Bowl winning offense for sure.
Absolutely.
So now let's see if the defense can hold up as well.
Yeah, you take a Super Bowl, or not a Super Bowl, but a league MVP quarterback. You add already to a solid offense. You add a couple of receivers. They're talking about Calvin Ridley playing in the slot with Julio, and then you got Julio and Sanu. And then on top of that, you make your quarterback happy by signing Matt Ryan to a 5-year, $150 million contract with $100 million guaranteed. It's the first $30 million a year contract in NFL history. Josh, Matt Ryan's got to be happy getting more weapons and getting more money.
Oh, yeah, I think he's going to get one of those cash machines from Graham. Music video. And yeah, I know my friend Scott is a Falcons fan, and he's happy about that.
Josh, in your opinion, is Matt Ryan worth the money? I say anytime you're going to give someone $100 million guaranteed, they should win you a Super Bowl. Do you think that Matt Ryan is a potential Super Bowl winning quarterback in this league? After, of course, after he would knock Aaron Rodgers out. After that.
Well, in the like very highly unlikely and get there. I could see the keyword is potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's worth the money, especially with like the value of money seems to go down. I mean, if they can pay Stafford what he gets paid for, and he results in nothing. Matt Ryan getting to the Super Bowl and getting to the NFC Championship and all that. And I think he's good enough to win the Super Bowl. And hasn't happened before. They almost had it that one.
That's true. I mean,
it's hard to compete with Black Magic Belichick.
That's true, and that's almost what had to be going on. I mean, Stoyo, you got to think that Matt Ryan's good enough to get a Super Bowl. He had 28 points up and a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl.
Matt Ryan was the closest Atlanta QB to get as close as anyone else could to winning a Super Bowl.
Yep.
He was a mere quarter and maybe 5 minutes away from winning a Super Bowl. He was up 25 points and
just blew it.
Too young and not experienced enough to close out a Super Bowl game.
Yep.
So pretty much he did what he could, but he could definitely be a Super Bowl winning QB. And I think he's worth the contract.
Yeah.
And especially since the salary cap keeps going up.
Yep.
So those numbers do look huge, but as the salary cap increases, that it makes the contract more manageable. But it is hard to win with the QB that has a big contract. Look at the Lions, but that's a bad example because you shouldn't include the Lions as potential winners. So you don't want to look at the Lions for any advice.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, the next team up to pay their quarterback that kind of money is your Green Bay Packers, Josh. Rodgers is expected to be up next to get similar money to Matt Ryan. You say do the deal, pay him the money, pay that man?
Oh, yeah.
Very nice. All right.
Give him whatever he wants.
100 mil and Danica Patrick.
Do it.
And
Dan Patrick. All right. The Panthers improve. They get a wide receiver early to help out Cam Newton. They get a tight end and some defensive help, couple linebackers, trying to stay in the division hunt. Saints add defensive end Marcus Davenport. They traded up to get him. He should be nasty and a good fit there for the Saints, him and Cameron Jordan. I would have liked to see the Bucs do a little more. They did get defensive tackle Vita Vea, running back Ronald Jones. I would like to see them get a little more help for Winston in the receiving end. Let's see here. What else happened? The Seahawks get Rashad Penny, Rasheem Green, Shaquem Griffin. Josh, what do you make of Shaquem Griffin, the first linebacker drafted without one hand? He only has one hand. He did have an outstanding 40, put up corner and safety time speed, and was all over the field in college to play that linebacker/safety position. Do you think that one-handed Shaquem Griffin can be a success in the NFL as a linebacker?
Yeah, I've seen guys on defense, like linebackers and linemen, play with like when they've had like a
club,
like they have like a hand injury and they just have a club.
Yeah.
And like Clay Matthews has played with one, and yeah, you can still be effective. Like you can't obviously grab and hold on to someone to bring them down, but if you can make up for that with, if he's got speed and can hit them hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it can work.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be rooting for him. It should be fun to watch. Let's see what's up next here.
Oh, Phillip Rivers is 36, by the way.
36, a little younger than we expected. Not quite 40, but
he's not quite there, but he's getting up there.
Yeah. Stoyo, we've been talking about this for weeks now, ever since the ESPN story. Let's talk a little Patriots controversy. You and Gavin haven't been on the controversy path, but I'm going to get you back on it. The first interview with star quarterback Tom Brady since the Super Bowl loss was with Jim Gray, and Jim Gray asked him, Brady, do you feel appreciated by the New England Patriots? He answered, quote, I plead the fifth. Stoyo, do you think this is a bad sign, or do you think that Brady's just stirring the pot and joking around?
Maybe he was just quoting the Chappelle Show.
No, I think that's starting to look bad.
Yeah.
It's just too many things. At some point, something is happening over there. It's been going on for months, and your franchise quarterback says this. That's not the answer you really want to have.
No, it's not.
At some point, it's going to come tumbling down, and this could be it.
Yep. Think maybe one more year, one more run at it. Brady back, Gronk back. Make one more run for it. Brady also said this quote when asked about the Super Bowl benching of Malcolm Butler. Quote, I didn't know. Malcolm kept coming over to me during the game, and he was like, come on, TB, let's go. And I kept going, what defense are we in where Malcolm's not on the field? Is it short yardage? Goal line? Then after the game I found out, so I just didn't know. I mean, Gavin made some good points before. Like, the guys that were talking about this were guys that were off the team and gone, and it wasn't a big deal in-house. But when your star quarterback is talking like this, it's not a great look. Josh, what do you think of all the rumors coming out of New England? It's not good when your quarterback is asked, do you feel appreciated? And he says, I plead the fifth.
Yeah, I think it's like more of the same from the Patriots. I'm sure there's mad stuff going on, or they're lying about something, or covering something up, but we'll never find out about it. And if we do, they'll just say it's okay.
And this is my reaction. I agree with what you just said a lot. A lot of
third string back for 4 games.
a lot of people say it's the Patriots, it's Belichick. We're never gonna find out. Well, here's my take on this. The Patriot way under Kraft and Belichick has always been do your job. Well, head coach Bill Belichick should heed his own mantra and do his job. Stand up to the mic and explain this decision. Explain it to your current players. Explain it to teammates that were wondering why Malcolm wasn't on the field. Explain it to your fans. Explain it to everyone. We don't understand this move in the Super Bowl. And most importantly, explain this, in my opinion, unfair Super Bowl benching of a former Super Bowl MVP, Malcolm Butler. Explain it to him. He doesn't understand. He's never gotten an explanation. Someone needs to explain this move. It can't just be like, oh, crazy genius Belichick, it didn't work out. This is not a good move, and I think Belichick needs to explain himself. It drops him to 5-3 record in the Super Bowl. A bad loss.
But yeah, it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like,
And they were favored in
Like
that
he's
Super
been
Bowl.
known to bench players, even star players, like he benched Randy Moss, I think, and
Yeah.
but it wasn't in the Super Bowl.
It's
And
just
it was like
crazy.
announced.
Even
And
Moss and those guys, they had their off the field problems, or they had well documented problems within the locker room or something. There was nothing been mentioned about Malcolm Butler here. What do you think, Stoyo?
yeah.
I don't have that much of an issue as much as you have with it. I don't think he owes an explanation to anyone. He's the head coach of a franchise. They don't owe anything to the fans. Maybe there is some issues in New England, but he's also the guy that has gotten them 5 Super Bowl rings, and I just can't question the best coach out there. So
Yeah. I'll listen to that debate, and I'll say this. People say that teams like the Patriots are such well-run organizations that they're above this kind of controversy. I say false. Let's go look at the NBA. Look at the San Antonio Spurs right now and the situation with Kawhi Leonard. This can happen to anybody, any team, at any time.
yeah, but that's towards the tail end of the Spurs run. What the Spurs did and what the Patriots have done is something that has almost never been done to dominate in their era when the game is so huge already.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where we go forward from here in New England. Speaking of a team on the rise, Rams head coach Sean McVay has had such a major impact in LA. They were the first team in the Super Bowl era to go from last in offensive scoring to first in one season. On top of that, it was Sean McVay's rookie season as head coach. On top of that, he was also the youngest head coach ever. Josh, this is pretty amazing, LA Rams. And in a recent podcast, a recent player interview we had, I said that I expected the Rams to take a big leap forward in 2018, but he was like they already went 11-5 and were division winners last year. How much better can the Rams actually be this year? What do you think of the Rams adding Ndamukong Suh and Marcus Peters? How much better do you think they can be, Josh?
Oh, I think they can be better.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily be like I could see them still having a similar record, maybe of 12-4 or something, maybe a little better record-wise, but that should make them more equipped to compete better in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they got in this last year and lose the first game to Atlanta. Maybe they'll go further this year.
Yeah, and they go from last in scoring to first in scoring. That's a huge jump now if they can figure out some
defense,
get some other stuff going.
Yeah. Stoyo, you and me have been big on the Rams, their additions. I could see this team going from 11-5 to like 13-3 or 14-2 with all these pieces. Do you think the Rams can be that good?
Absolutely, and they're betting on themselves right now.
Yeah.
And are adding pieces to compete right now, which is what you need to do when you still have your starting QB on his rookie deal. This is the best time to win, is when you still are not paying that much money to your QB. You can add such expensive pieces such as Sue to your team. That's a really good point. That's the way to win. Look at Seattle. That's how they won with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but you're right. You see guys like Matt Ryan getting $30 million a year. Goff is still under his rookie contract, and they can afford to build around him right now. That's a real good point. Stoyo, two more stories here on this episode. Stoyo, what did you think of the recent news of the Lions, newly acquired head coach Matt Patricia, being investigated by the NFL now. It seems he was hired by the Lions, and no one ever brought up a 1996 charge against Matt Patricia, a sexual assault case from back in the day. The charges were dropped, so it didn't come up. But do you blame the Lions and Patriots for not doing their homework here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They should have looked it up, especially when some other news outlets were able to figure that out in a matter of seconds. They should definitely have been able to find those charges in his past, and they could have chose to hire him or not after they knew the facts. But to just not do that as a professional franchise, I find that really odd.
Yeah, and it could be a potentially crazy story here if I don't know many head coaches who have been fired or hired and then fired before they coached a game. Do you think that this could be a potentially fireable offense?
It seems that Detroit is backing their coach right now, so I don't think he's going to be released. He claims that he's innocent. From what I've read, it doesn't sound very good what he's been accused of.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know what to say.
Did you see what the Lions said in their on their official press release about it?
I did not.
They made sure to highlight the fact that it was in college and on spring break.
So okay, what does that mean? Detroit?
I don't know. I don't know why you're emphasizing that. It shouldn't really matter. Yeah.
So there's a certain time throughout the school year when it's more appropriate to do such things.
We assaulted somebody, but you know, it was spring break in college. You know, we've all been there.
Josh, what do you think? Do you blame the Lions and the Patriots here, or do you think that this is just something that they missed and now he should be fired for, or what do you think of this story?
Yeah, from what I've read of it, like a lot of the teams that he interviewed with, like it wouldn't come up because they wouldn't do the the thorough background check until he became like a serious candidate for the job.
Yeah. So
all the interviews and stuff is whatever, but he was a coordinator for the Patriots, so they hired him, and then the head coach for Detroit. So you would think that that would come up if they did their due diligence.
I mean, as a fan, I want to be able to trust my organization that they're going to do all the research necessary to hire the right head coach. And as a Lions fan right now, my confidence would definitely be shaken.
And wasn't there something sketchy with Jim Bob Cooter too?
There was.
Yes, as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I think maybe some teams would fire him. I don't think Detroit will.
Yeah.
Because the statements they've said in there.
He allegedly broke into someone's house and looted himself up.
Yeah.
Himself in someone's bed while they were asleep.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he has a cool last name, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. It's just Jim Bob.
Cooter got caught with us in the news.
Cooter was looking for Cooter.
All right, let's go to the next story here. Redskins veteran cornerback Deangelo Hall, at age 34, says, quote, "I'm done," announcing his retirement from the NFL after a 14-year career. Hall played just 5 games in 2017 due to a knee injury. Hall would finish his career with 171 games played, 43 interceptions, 811 tackles, 11 forced fumbles, and 10 defensive touchdowns. Since 2004...
And Jay Cutler would still throw to him.
Jay Cutler's favorite weapon, Deangelo Hall. Since 2004, Deangelo's rookie season, he has recorded 43 interceptions. Since only 3 players with more during that span. Can you name 3 players with more than 43 interceptions since 2004? Stoyo and Josh, you want to guess?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Ed Reed.
Yep, you got one. Josh, one of your guys is on this list. Can you name him? Think Raiders.
That's too easy.
Think Packers. Think Michigan.
That's way too easy.
Huh?
Hello?
Yeah, what'd you say?
Yeah, I said Woodson.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that.
Charles Woodson.
Yep, Charles Woodson. And I don't think any of you are gonna get the last guy. He was a Patriot and an Eagle.
I got this. What's his name?
Corner.
Give me 1 second. I know them.
So his first name start with an A.
It does.
And is there an S?
Yes.
Or does his last name start with an S?
It does.
Yeah.
All right, Stoyo, you ready?
His last name is a lot of people's first name.
It is Asante Samuel.
Asante Samuel, damn it.
49 picks. So good job, guys. Ed Reed, Charles Woodson, and Asante Samuel. That puts Deangelo Hall in pretty good company for his career.
Yeah.
That Cutler game was amazing.
What?
I don't think I've ever seen anyone had 4 picks in one game.
4 picks. That was probably his top targeted weapon in that game.
And Cutler just kept throwing to him.
So going into the dog days of the offseason here, notable unsigned veteran free agents still available. Wide receiver Dez Bryant. If your team needs one of these, you should be calling them up, trying to sign one of these weapons. Dez Bryant still available. Wide receiver.
I didn't know that Dez Bryant was a free agent.
Yeah, the Cowboys cut him. They didn't even offer him a pay cut. Wide receiver Brandon Marshall is available. He did visit the Seattle Seahawks. Safety Eric Reed, but he has now sued the NFL for collusion, joining Colin Kaepernick in that suit. So I don't know if he'll be getting.
Yeah, I did read on that.
I don't know if he'll be getting a job. Linebacker Navarro Bowman. Running back DeMarco Murray. Defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins. Wide receiver Eric Decker. Linebacker Carlos Dansby. And safety Kenny Vaccaro. And corner Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. So we'll see if any of those guys get any jobs going forward.
Sign Rodgers-Cromartie.
Yeah, Green Bay could sign one of those. If you guys sign Rodgers-Cromartie, we're going after. We're gonna bring
Rodgers and Rodgers-Cromartie.
We're gonna bring in Dez Bryant or one of those guys. Stoyo, would you want Dez Bryant for like the league minimum?
Yes, but not on the Bears.
Anywhere else? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
because I think he would be too vocal.
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
remember last season when he was getting frustrated, he wasn't receiving the football, and finally he was targeted, and then he fumbled.
Yep.
Right away. So I don't know. And late in his career, I think he would want to stay away, and he wouldn't really handle having like a secondary role.
That's these problems with these big name, entitled weapons and receivers, they're going to complain when they don't get the ball. So when they do get the ball, they better perform. And if you're going to get the ball and drop it, or get the ball and fumble, or something like that, you're not going to be fitting in as well. So we'll see what goes on going forward. You guys have any last comments you want to add?
Yeah, I'm still hearing about him dropping the ball against Green Bay in the playoffs.
Yep.
It was a catch. Obviously, it wasn't.
Well, they changed the rule. Now that's a catch going forward.
Yeah, they changed the tuck rule, too.
Yep.
Or they got rid of it.
So, we'll see. Should be a good season coming in. Thanks guys for coming on. It was a good episode. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or leave a comment. Have a good one. We'll be back next week. Gavin should be back next week. We'll try and get Josh on some more so we can give him crap about his Packers. And thanks for coming on, guys. Have a good week.
XFL coming soon.
Later, guys. Peace out.
Packers suck!
Go Bears!